We now have like two folks offering to do music for the game. We got Vic, and then Rinzai has a friend as well. So it'd be great to have some piratey theme music. For today's, I have like maybe 45 minutes to go over some coding today. I wanted to just touch on some progress we've made to the game so far. I've made it so that you can't walk on the NPC, but I want it so that when you are one square from the NPC, you can interact with them. So I also want to add a second NPC up here, like a blacksmith, and then like we'll do like an enemy or something like that. I like something to pop the combat modal. I'm not going to do combat right now, but I'd love to pop the combat modal just to kind of show that. Okay. So previously this was happening. I'll show this. Let me see. Where's my grid generator? Here. This is what would happen when I just click on this guy. It moves there. Right now what it's doing is doing the comparison. If I'm on the same tile as the NPC, show the quest modal. When I move away, it's going to close. Now obviously we don't want everyone in the game piling on top of the NPC. So what I want to do is I want to disable that tile as one that you can walk on. So that's now what's happening. So now when I click on him, what I want to have happen, this is the kind of the next step. What I want to have happen is when you click on a tile that you can't walk to, I do want you to walk to the nearest available tile that you can walk on. So if I click on the NPC, I should be able to walk to here, right? But for right now, as long as I'm one tile away from this mob, I should be able to interact with it. So that's what we want to do. And I guess I had a little bit of a, let me see, hold on. I'm just doing a git commit here. There you go. This was easy for a moment because I was triggering the modal based off where your personal path ended. Now what I want to do is base it off of where I click. So, oh, this will be interesting too. So there's two parts of the logic that have to happen. I can determine both, am I within one square of the NPC, right? And did I click, is the tile I clicked on, even though the path algorithm won't move me to it, did I click on something where there is an NPC there, and if so, interact with that NPC? So that is in our click handling function. Let's see this. Button press. Okay. So get tile by coordinate. Oh, so we're already getting the tile? Oh, so I'm already getting this information. Good. I'm already getting this information even though we can't move to it. Perfect, perfect. So get tile by coordinate, and then is there an NPC at that tile? And what I want to rig up right now in the game, there's only one NPC. So the logic that I'm currently doing is anticipating there's one and only one NPC, which is still not great, obviously. What we want to do is go through an array of NPCs. So in our click handling, okay, we're gonna do like a, let's see, NPCs dot for each, and then for each NPC we want to get the tile and see if tile X and tile Y, and if that is okay. So now I've written the code, so if I click on an NPC it should pop the modal. Almost. Let's see. Yikes. What am I doing here? Add. Oh, I'm not. Where's Brighton coming from? Oh, I never add Brighton to my array. Whoopsies. Let's take our details about Brighton here and just cut this out. Brighton is our quest runner. And so we should add him in here. Okay. Okay, there's Brighton. Now let's go ahead and add, and let's see what this, what was this tile? 1670, 1679. Every tile has an ID. Oh, I didn't want to move Brighton there. That's fine. Brighton, you're our quest runner. Why are you pretending to be the bandit? I need another ID in our sprite sheet. Our sprite sheet right now has 4 characters that are already loaded. Let me see where this is. I think it's night.json. We have a bandit, we have the panda, we have the bard, and we have bard, and I guess we just called him night 4. Okay. So, bard. Oh, cool. Okay, so, but let's see. We'll call this one bard, and he's going to be our smith. And we're going to not give him a glow. So he's not going to glow. Okay. Oh, I need to turn that off entirely. There we go. Let's see if that works. Okay, I've currently set up the game so that all the mobs have to glow, so fine. Let's make him glow green. Yeah, now it's happy. I have a red glow. Bard is a smith, apparently, and has a green glow. He is not a quest runner, so I want to turn that off. Apparently, I don't know how to. Hold on. The sprite constructor is... Oh, I have it backwards. This is false, and this is true. Okay, good. Bard doesn't have a... Bard shouldn't have... Oh, but we got rid of the... Why does the text look like that now? The names don't have the bolding that they did. Okay. Add enemy, add quest runner, add smith. Oh, I see. And then what do we have? Night 4. And let's put night 4 next to... Let's just put him next to... I'm trying to think. So we're going from one NPC to an array of NPCs. So I have a few things I have to update in the code. I have a constructor now for all 3 NPCs being created. Oh, free music from Pixabay for Pirate Adventures. All right, shall we listen to this? Hold on. Hold on. Yes, let's go. All right. Hold on. Okay. The top one. Oh, I missed Pirate Adventures. Thank you. All right, hold on. Here we go. All right. All right. So now we're adding this now, right? Cool. Okay. So a couple things happened. Oh, I need to do the NPCs rendering. Great. Let's see. It's got this. This doesn't sound. There's like almost something missing from like the sea shantiness, like that snare drum or something like that. Yeah, there you go. The flute. I like the flute or whatever that is. The little piccolo. I like that. It's like a little. There's my NPCs. Boom. Oh no, there's one called Tempest. Damn it. Smith the Bard, Brighton the Innkeeper, for some reason missing his, oh, and I can't move. Hold on. I set these up wrong. One of them is not an NPC. Hold on. And only one of them is a quest giver. That's Smith. The Smith's name is... Oh man, I messed this up, didn't I? This is the enemy. Okay. Enemy. And this is Bard. Bard is the enemy. Okay. Let me refresh. Okay, that's fun. Okay, we're gonna copy this, bring this into the documentation. I'm gonna hold on to it for now. Where's my documents? There it is. All right. Okay, so I got a whole bunch of guys appearing now. So I got an enemy, and we have a quest runner who is Brighton. He's the innkeeper. The Smith is, let's actually call him Smith. Oop, Smith. His name's Smithy. Smithy Smith is right next to me. He's glowing red. Let's get him to glow purple. Look at this. Watch this. Wow. That is some difficult coding right there. I changed the word red to purple. No, we're feeling good. Okay. Okay. Something's not right. NPC.getTile. We're upgrading from one NPC being in the game to multiple. So we're just doing a little refactor here. If the characters move, oh, this is just not gonna. We're not gonna do this at all now. We're doing. We were popping the modal based off of if you were standing right on top of the character. Show modal. Show modal. I'll just hide that. Now we're doing it based off of, what are you doing now? Show modal is not defined. Show modal. Now it's going to be clicking, but you have to be within a spot. So here, let's see. If I click, npc.getTile is not defined. Get npc get npc get tile. Yeah. So if a find path, it needs to block out all the NPCs. So I need to loop through all the NPCs. NPCs for each NPC arrow function. Excuse me. And then what we want to do is we want to do a check in here. Actually, no, we want to do like a find. So npcs.find. And we want to see return. We just need to find if the NPC is on a particular tile, that tile is not available for the path finding, is the long and short of what I'm talking about right now. We need to disable that tile. And then you're going to be like, let round equal, and then if round equal. Okay, so this should work. NPC play.line13. Oh, is not used, right? Because we no longer have a single NPC, but an array of NPCs. Okay, here we go. If I click on green, I should, oh, look at that, good. Okay, it popped. So our first rule is working. If I click on an NPC, it's going to trigger the modal. Great. The second rule we haven't implemented yet, which is I need to be within 1 square of it. But I can't step on the NPC square. You see I'm walking around it. So that's working. Let's see if it works over here. Yep. So pathfinding is ignoring any square that the NPC is on. Okay, sweet. Now all these NPCs are currently flagged as the same. So if I click on any of them, it's going to bring up the same modal. And I can do this from anywhere. The mini map is not currently, so here I can trigger the mini map up there. So it will eventually follow the user position. This was working. This was in sync when the character was moving with arrow keys. But yeah, so I think that'll be fun. Let's see. Let's see. Just a sec. Okay. So that's working. That's working. That's working. So now what I want to have happen. Okay. So now we just need to go to the check. So, what I'm going to do tonight is that you have to walk over to the NPC and then click. What I will want to do later is that clicking on the NPC will move you to the square that is closest to them, so that if you see the NPC across the screen, you can just click it, and then it'll move you over. Let's see. There's something going on with these titles. Lost their boldness, the stroke around the names. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to drop a to do in here though. To do. Why did we lose the stroke around names? I'm not going to get distracted with that right now. What I want to do is move over to the NPCs, because what I'd like to do is pop 3 different modals tonight. The smith, I actually want to grab the Dura page for the equipment upgrade. Our components for upgrading equipment would fit perfectly in this modal. So you go over to the smith and we can just, you can do your upgrades right there, right? I don't know if I don't know if we will end up keeping that, but I think that's a good something to have right now to just differentiate between that and the quest giver. The game loop that I'm hoping to have done here in the next, I'm going to say 48 hours. The quest giver tells you to fight the mob. You go fight the mob. Then that gives you gold. You go to the smith, you upgrade your equipment with the gold, you fight the mob, it's easier, right? So that's what we're going to do. I don't think I'm going to actually stay away from any sort of real-time combat for right now, like Pokemon or something like that, where you'd have to like respond to do attacks, and just do idle. So this is this isometric game interface really at the end of the day is still we are still making just an idle incremental game. It's just got graphics instead of menus and text. So we'd walk over to an enemy, and that enemy in the end of the at the end of the day, Rinzai, this is what I was thinking. I could imagine something on the screen that looked like a cave or a dungeon, right? And you would just go over to it, and then we would just combat would autoplay, and we could visually show the sprites fighting each other, but there's nothing you as a player do. You've set up your character, you've set up your skills. I do want a party system, and we can go into that later. I really like that Guild Wars system where if you wanted to venture into the wilderness, you could either hire an NPC, or as you leave town, you could see other players that are there that could be part of your party. And so I think that's necessary if you want to play, just like we were planning to do with Pyroclasm and Dura. If your main character wants to be like a ranged DPS, it only makes sense if you have someone that's going to tank for you. So that can either be like a NPC, or like, I don't think the word is minion. I think there's a better word for it, but you could either have like an NPC tank or another player be your tank, and they're not active. It's just using that character. They'll fulfill the role of tank in the party, and your character is then doing DPS, or maybe your character is healing or something like that. But the party then proceeds through the dungeon, and it is just idle. See how far you get through the dungeon. When the party's finally defeated, you get your loot, and then if you haven't changed anything, you would just proceed through the same dungeon again. That's it, and you play that idly, and you're going for the drops and whatnot. So either way, that's the game loop. Okay, so what I want to do is there's a particular mouse press, and then I have a function here Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here so that I can walk you guys through the logic that I'm thinking. Let me, sorry. Womp, 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 womp. Is this the same window? No. Awesome. Do I need to zoom out here? Okay, I'm gonna switch. Wham. Okay, you guys see that code? I want to, hold on. Switch it back. I think this window's a bit big. There you go. Transition back. Yeah, okay, cool. So what we have here is we're handling, let's see, there's the draw calls. Okay, we're gonna hide that. There's a lot here. There's no comments, which is always a fun time. We're not actually gonna set movement here anymore. We actually will. Let me think. Will we need this anymore? We're going to find a different way to signal up to the mini-map that we're moving. Okay, then this function is, let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Get tile by coordinate. Determine if we've clicked on determine if and which tile we've clicked on based on mouse coordinates. And then if we have clicked on a tile, we can get the ID. And then determine path between character, what we commonly call the origin and destination. So this is where like doing Unity development with vectors in 2 and 3D have really helped me piece this together so quickly. We're at roughly 10 hours of development. This is all what I've thrown together in about 4 days. Some of this obviously we're bringing over from Dura really quick, but other parts of this I just understand them a bit better because I've done this in Unity. Unfortunately, I wish I could have an engine that was as easy as Unity to say, have I clicked on this particular region? I'm having to write that logic myself. So a path, let me show you guys the path. Show grid true. Now I'm having performance issues when I render the grid. So I don't know how long this will work. My FPS drops in half when I do this. But when I click, you'll see these things highlight and, I'm not sharing. Transition. Here you go. This is how the path logic works. So if the tile is in the currently defined path, it turns red. And then as your character walks from node to node. As you reach that node, it removes it from the path, and then it figures out the next one. We take this one step further, which allowing like a level creator, someone that wanted to build levels, could come in here, load up the map, and click the squares that should not be accessible, and they should turn red, right? And then that way, just like as I'm trying to walk, right? As I'm trying to walk here, you behave the same way. The pathfinding library ends up building a giant binary version of the map. Every single square is represented to the pathfinding library either as a 1, which is passable, or 0, which is impassable. So what I'm doing is, as I'm constructing that binary map, I'm saying, hey, any coordinates where an NPC is found, those are zeros. And so we'd bring in our own logic as well, right? Saying, hey, whatever, we maybe had to hard code in, all these other squares, which can be laborious, right? The actual really cool thing about this, I just realized, you wouldn't have to fill in every square here in the water. You just need to do a ring around the lake, Because if none of the squares on the inside are reachable, right? If we have a solid ring around the lake, then you'll never, you won't be, the pathfinding would never be able to find your way into the lake. So that's something good to keep in mind. We don't have to fill in, like over here. We don't need to fill in every single square over here. And in this case too, Renzai, we could almost have a feature that was like turn the entire map red, impassable, and then only turn on the squares that are passable if you feel like the majority of the map is actually passable, or impassable. But yeah, so all you would need to do is knock out any of these tiles here on the side that are partially in the water, and yeah, you would just outline the dock. That's cool. There's probably a lot on YouTube from others. Like, listen, I don't have a lot of game like level design experience on how to handle this stuff. So some of this stuff I'm just thinking up on the fly. But there's probably some good resources on how best to handle some of this stuff. The pathfinding library, for example, can be represented like a Super Mario Brother, or I guess Mario Brothers, whichever one was the first one. The entire level can be represented in little asterisk characters. Every sprite of the original Nintendo game maps to a little character, right? An equal sign or a asterisk is a coin, or whatever is a Koopa, or a turtle, or whatever it is. So, which I thought was pretty cool. But there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there in game design, level design knowledge, which isn't covered in what you would typically find in programming courses, right? Because there's a difference between sort of like the theory and the application. So anyway, there's a lot for us to learn here. Obviously, over the next year, we're going to do some things that are definitely not the best practices, but we're going to learn them. All right, so now, and I do like that we are kind of holding strong at about 20, 25 FPS. If I turn off the grid, and refresh, I shoot up to 60 FPS. So that is nice. I will say, I'm going to show you what I was doing, which was not at all efficient, and it was just this one fix. We have two functions here that really set up the map. One is called preload, and one is called setup. And then we have our draw loop. Well, I'm taking the map and I'm resizing the map to be 3000 pixels. And I was doing that inside the draw loop, which means every frame I was taking the original image and resizing it and resizing it and resizing it. And when I say that out loud, you realize why the whole browser slowed down. Now, I load it in the preload and I resize it in the setup. And then it's done. So, that's why some of the screen recordings I posted into Discord were like very poor FPS. Now we don't have that problem so much. Okay. So what I want to do is right here. We've done a click, right? Here we go. Determine if the clicked tile has an NPC nearby. Okay, hold on. This is for clicking on the tile. Oh. Determine if the clicked tile has an NPC. Okay, that's one check. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Tile has NPC equals false. And I'm actually, instead of writing this as a for each, we're just going to write it as a find. Actually, we can just write this as let's see, NPC on tile. Yeah, we'll get rid of this boolean. We'll just use a nice ES6 find function. Let NPC on tile equals, and instead of doing a for each, we'll do a find, where we just find the NPC that was on that tile. What's it upset about? I have an extra here. And then what we want to see is if there's an NPC on the tile, if an NPC is on the tile, now check the character. Hold on. Can you guys, oh, you guys can't see me. I'm just going to scroll down. Sorry about that. So that up at the top is where I started. Now, if an NPC is on the top, now check the character. Now check the character tile. Okay. And this is going to get me. So the thing to keep in mind, I have a variable that's a tile, and I have a variable that's the NPC on the tile, and this is a tile type, and this is a sprite type. And now what we want to see is if my character, and that's the other thing, right, of type sprite is my character. Those are the three variables that are we'll be using here in this little thing. Okay, if, and just for shorthand here, const character tile, I'm just gonna equals character get tile. I could reference character get tile the whole time. I think it'll get a little long. I prefer if we could just do this. And so I'm do this a little shorter. So I'm actually going to say NPC tile. No. NPC on tile. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah. But I'll do this because that variable references the NPC. This one will reference just the tile. Okay, so we have a C tile and an N tile. If the C tile X position is, we're going to compare it to, if it's what, greater than, hold on, let me think. If it's less than, you want to go one in each direction. So if it's less than the N, less than or equal to the N tile X plus 1, and the C tile is greater than or equal to the N tile minus 1, that should limit us in our X direction. We're going to copy that same line and paste it again, and this time we're just going to change all the X's to Y's. Okay, and if that's true, now okay. So I'm going to do an else, or I don't think I need to throw the debugging in here just yet. But let's go ahead and give this a try. If I click on Brighton, it should not pop the modal. Good. Does not work. Let me walk next to Brighton. There it is. Pops the modal. Let's see. Click. Good. I walk. Okay, it's making me walk away. Click. Okay, click. Oh, that's because, let's see, click. Oh, that's because I'm literally clicking away to close the modal. Got it. Oh, that's weird. Oops. Okay, so I will say the X over the H5P. I need to make sure that we don't click. Okay, closing the modal right now is triggering both a click on not the H5P, is triggering a click on the canvas and the modal at the same time. So I need to figure that out, not to let it go through. But we do have the logic in here, so now we'll only trigger the modal when we are, so I'm too far away, too far away, too far away, right on. Okay. Now what I want to do though is I want to trigger different modals. I want to trigger a Smith modal, and I don't think, let's see, go back to this for a second. I want to do like a type, so type NPC and then meta okay, we don't need the X or Y positions going up. I guess it's going to be NPC on tile dot get type or ID, get ID. I don't know that I have an ID yet on these so let's see. Where's our sprite? Sorry, I'm kind of scrolling a little bit on our sprite class. We have a name, a title. Okay, we do have an ID. The ID is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's the 5th parameter. We go to play, scroll down where we're declaring our NPCs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this ID is going to be, I'm just going to have it be this. This is the blacksmith. Or we're just going to call this one upgrade for now. And this one's going to be quest. And this one's going to be enemy. And mine is going to be player. Those are the IDs. And let's make sure our sprite class, does it have a function for getting the ID? No. So we're just going to put it right there. Get ID, return this ID. Great. And then we're going to pass that up to our map view. The map view is currently waiting. Okay. So we have an attack. We have an NPC. Okay, so we're going to change the, okay, so NPC gets triggered anytime you get clicked on an NPC. Now we're going to do if payload.meta equals if it's quest, then we're going to show the modal. Okay. So let's give this a test. The way this should work now is if I walk over to Brighton, he triggers the modal. But if I walk over to Smith, he does not. Okay. Cool. We are going to, we need another modal. So toggle modal, and we're going to need to load in another modal. So we're going to go here. I'll show you guys. We're going to go one more view up to our game view. As soon as I click on it. All right, so we got the HUD from the character, the map, the mini map. Then you have this NPC modal, and so this has the story quest component. That's actually what it is, isn't it? The story quest. So the story quest component is that it's a component that like tells a linear story, just like a quest line would, which is great, but we don't want it for our other like upgrades or combat. So let's do this. Let's call this. Yep, this is fine. This is we're at a bit of a fork right here in the development practice. Our first prototype had one NPC of one type, and now we have 3 NPCs of 3 different types. And the easiest way forward is to copy and paste what we've already done 2 more times change the small content between these variants and call it good. Many developers don't do this. They'll take what they currently have and now refactor it so the same one component can be used 3 different ways. In most cases, it's like 6 of one, half dozen of another. One is incurring tech debt. We're taking the easy route now. We'll have to come back later and clean that up. But we'll get to a demoable version faster than the risk of taking what we already have, breaking it, and hopefully rewiring it in a more configurable way. It's a higher upfront cost now with no tech debt later. What it puts off is the milestone in which we can share this with others, right? If I duplicate this code twice into the 2 other types of pop-ups, the first pop-up or modal doesn't break. I'm not touching it at all. I know it works, and so if any bugs ever come up, it's going to be with the second or third modal, and I know exactly where it is. The moment I try to take my one copy of the modal and make it configurable so it can be used in all 3 contexts, I no longer have any working modal. And so anyway, many of you may have already known that I just decided to go through that little lesson right there. Probably because it helps justify why I'm about to do the not great thing. I've already announced that earlier in Discord. I'm not at the point where I want to do the refactor. Sometimes you can get that optimization. It's called premature optimization. Developers not wanting to be called out for essentially doing what I'm about to do, introducing duplication and tech debt, will go ahead and prematurely refactor the code because they don't want to be called out on doing something wrong. So no one there's more shame in apparently writing that code and writing that code and shipping versus doing the refactor but not shipping your code, right? So I'm in favor of shipping. So we're going to go ahead and just copy and paste this three times and call this one this is for the enemy. I mean, to be fair here, I'm going to call this out right now. I'm going to go into my character HUD. My character HUD has a health bar component, a mana bar component, and an XP bar component. The only difference, and all of these actually come off of, I actually wrote a completely configurable, reusable component called progress bar that could be used in a number of different cases. The one thing I did not configure with progress bar was what color the progress bar could be. So red, blue, and green are up there in the corner. For expediency, I just duplicated it and hard-coded in the color. What we will absolutely take care of next week when we do the refactor, is just use one component, again called progress bar, but make it so that the color is configurable. But this is just an example, right? This is tech debt, but I'll also say it allowed me to throw together this version, this template, way faster than the risk of going into a component that I know works, changing it, and hoping that this particular change works in all the other instances in the application that progress bar is referenced. So everyone's got an opinion. I'm focused on shipping because at the end of the day, it's not about pleasing other developers. It's about getting your product in front of your users, right? I literally had this conversation, and I know the other developer on Discord was being playful, but he saw that this game was using PHP as a backend, and he's like, "Oh, you had me until PHP," and I'm like, he'd prefer to use WebSockets. Cool. You know who doesn't care what our backend is written in? The players. Whether we use PHP or JavaScript, Node, sockets, whatever, it's all No one actually cares. It's just your developer ego. How comfortable am I that another developer is going to call me out? And it is a hard kind of hill to finally get up and be okay with not being perfect. I'll tell you one thing. The validation from your users is worth a lot more than the validation from other developers. There's no guarantee that this other developer or another coder is going to use your app, like your app, whatever. So why are you coding to their standard? Code to the standard of your users thinking your app is useful or fun, right? Make a good quality app for them. They're your audience. They're your stakeholder. They're your customer. So anyway, that was a bit of a tangent there, but I was feeling good on just kind of connecting the dots. There's some things that I just see that paralyze people from shipping their codes. They work on their apps for such a long time, and for some reason, then they announce in Discord or whatever, oh, we're doing a big refactor, and it's like you just set your whole development back a month or two for no gain in the eyes of your users. So that's the enemy. This is going to be the smith, and this is the quest giver, or the quest runner. Okay, so we're going to go, this one I actually want to be a smith modal. Okay, and this one is going to be enemy modal. And these three components will have different content in them. I want to copy and paste these because I like what we did with placing kind of that character portrait up there in the corner. Smith modal, enemy modal. Oh, let me scroll down, sorry. Smith modal, enemy modal. Grab our Smith modal and we'll put it right here. And we'll grab enemy modal and put it right here and hit save. Okay, now it doesn't know what those things are. Let's go into our story quest and we'll go ahead and save this twice. Enemy modal saved, file, save as. Smith modal. Okay, so for funsies, let's go ahead and pop all of them on the screen at the same time. In a moment. Enemy modal. Well, to be honest, the enemy modal would be it'll probably end up being more of a full screen thing, but until then. And then the Smith modal, we'll go ahead and get rid of this integration stuff right now. I've got some errors on the page. We're going to figure out what those are about. Length, app.js, P5. So we have some P5 issues. Hold on. Amount. Oh, amount. What are we doing here? I like portrait. We need a portrait for these. Okay, we'll just put portrait 1 in there for now. Portrait 1. And we'll save. Oh, and we'll need that for the other one too. Enemy modal. We'll just put portrait 1 in there for now, and refresh. Closer. What do we have now? Okay, just fixing things in our templates. Okay, refresh. Okay. Label. Let me see. We can game. Smith modal. Oh, these are just warnings. Let's see, progress bar amount. Expected a number, got a value. Oh, I see. Maybe I just turned those into, I see. Okay. Let's refresh that. Okay. We have less warnings. We're down to 5. Okay, Smith modal, right. These do not have, question. Sorry. These don't have rewards or quests. So let's just get rid of this. We'll just hard code in Smithy for right now. And we're down to, this one shouldn't have any more warnings, but the enemy modal still does, so let's fix that. Just knock out all of this, and we'll just put in the enemy that will fight, and let's refresh. Let's see where we're at now. Okay, okay. Now let's go to our map page, or sorry, map page. We're just go to our game view, and right now these things are NPC. So let's do this. Class, quest modal, and then class Smith modal, and then class enemy modal. Now, just like in WoW, well, these things generally do appear, right? You can't engage with more than one NPC at the same time, right? So your character screen can appear next to one of these, but only one of these can pop at a time. So I'm going to, actually, I'm going to do NPC modal. NPC modal is the base class. And that'll get all of them to appear. Oh, okay. Yeah, show modal, hold on. Toggle modal, show modal value. So it's going to pass up. I'm going to do this as a number, where if show modal equals 1, and then for the second one, right, and there'll be, you know, what I'm writing right now will absolutely get rewritten next week, but how can I just move us, you know, how can I just get us closer to the objective here is what is at the forefront of my mind. So what I want to do is when I trigger the modal, close modal, NPC meta, it's the ID. Okay, sorry, the ID of the mobs. Okay, okay. So what did I put? I put enemy, quest, upgrade. Okay, that's what I want to do. So when I go back to game view, show modal is quest, show modal is upgrade, and enemy. And then it could start as a blank string. So if I've done this right, I walk over here. Oh, I'm not looking at the meta. Hold on. Game view. Oh, and I'm also not sharing the screen. Hold on just a second. When I'm toggle modal. This should really be like set modal, yeah. It's coming up from map. This meta. Oh yeah, we want to continue to pass the meta. And then here, when we close the modal, we'll just set it back to a blank string. Okay, all right. Let's see. If we've done this right, we should be able to trigger 3 different modals by clicking on 3 different NPCs. 1. That's Brighton, that's our quest. Okay, the upgrade one didn't work. Neither did the enemy. Let's figure it out. Let's do some. Oh, I'm only checking. Oh, this right here. This right here. I was only triggering the modal if the type was quest. Okay. Okay. There we go. Go over here. There's our NPC for a quest. Good, good. That's our smith. That's our smith. There we go. Bard. It says enemies. So we've got 3 different modals. The other 2 are empty, but we're triggering 3 different modals now. 1 for each NPC. Now what I want to do, because I think this will look really cool, we already have in our upgrade view from Dura, that was the party view. We already have the item upgrade. Yeah, we already have our item upgrade thing. What do I want to do? I want to just grab item upgrade, and then what is this? Get the children, and then get the children. That's for when we do secondary and tertiary upgrades. So I just need this. And I'm going to come into the game view. No, I'm going to come into the smith modal. This isn't how I don't think this is how I want it in the game, but we can, you know, this is what we'll have a conversation with later. It doesn't make any sense that the smith is going to have the list of your items that you can upgrade, though this makes it a very simple, I mean, I do want you to take, I guess, an item to an NPC to do the upgrade, but whatever. For right now, it needs to know item by role. Okay, so we're going to bring in import, what is it, map getters from vuex. Here, I'll go down here. And we're going to need a, I guess a computed. And I think it's going to get items by role. Oh, no, sorry. I think I have to do map getters. And let me just check what I was doing in the combat view. No, sorry, not the combat view, the party view. Get children and items. That's not what I want. Items by role was a filter based off the role in the parent. Okay. And then, so I need to bring in items. Okay, so we're just going to grab all the items. And what I love about building Raccooth on top of Dura is all the placeholder information is there for what these items are and stuff like that. So here we are in the smith thing. There we go. And I guess let me use portrait. I don't know. Let's figure out what portrait 20 looks like. So I don't need role portraits and I don't need character summary. I need the items. Then the items are going to be filtered to this role. Okay, so let's do that. Data. We'll just hard code this in now. Return, and then what? Role is shield. That's the tank. The shield, the sword, and the spirit. What are you upset with? Did I put something up here? Sorry, it's yelling at me. Okay, did I do something to template? Div. When I changed, save. Oh, I did. I need another div. There we go. There we go. All right, here we go. Here we go. Ready? If I go over to my smith now and I click, okay, I got my little different portrait there. Why doesn't it show me my items by role? Let me check how I was doing it on the party view. Items by role. Items, yeah, and the default, oh yeah, look at that. The default role there was shield as well. Let's go back to our smith. Yeah, that's the same setup. Map items. Return. Items by role. Oh, I'm not importing my component here. Item upgrade. It doesn't know how to render it. Import item upgrade from what is it, /components, and I think it's going to be on the party branch, or the the party folder, because that's the view that it was originally written for, item upgrade. And then I need to declare here components. I'm going to scroll down so you guys can see this. Components item upgrade, and hit comma and hit save. All right. Oh, there we go. It doesn't look great, but it's working. If I pop over here and talk, there it is. Looks like it's got the 6. The styling has a column large 6. So let's just do column 12. Let's just have it fit the yeah. Okay, closer. What doesn't look good? If upgrade was just, it needs more pixels. It's amazing. Hold on. What if I just do this? What if we could believe it, I can resize modals. Look at that. I want the Smith modal. I want there to be div class margin top 5, and then we wrap this, and then we hit save, and so that's going to push it down a little bit below the portrait. So basically a button no link. Yeah, I mean that's, yeah, you mean just like an icon. Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't want to redesign this because this isn't how I want this to work in this game. What I want is something closer to Lost Ark, where you would select from your gear which one you want to upgrade. Then it would be okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I would like this game to have inventory, but I don't want a lot of inventory. I do not want to do inventory management. What I really appreciate about New World is the way they've separated their inventory systems, where you don't really see the resources in your inventory. The inventory is mainly for your equipment drops, right? Those are separated. But what I don't want you to have is I don't really want you to have to deal with having 10 swords, 10 boots. What I think you should have is you should have the choice of, I've got this axe which does extra damage to goblins. I've got that mace that does extra damage to undead. I have this sword which does really well against demons. So there's a reason why you would have more than one weapon. And what I want, and I kind of like the way World of Warcraft does it, where every now and then you just get a nice drop, like a nice usable drop, and you can either put it on the marketplace, and it does sell for a decent amount, or you would use it. I want you to primarily get upgrade components, right? The weapon could have different properties. Minimum damage, maximum damage, fire damage. Maybe that's a gem. Maybe it's part of the weapon itself, whatever. We drop a hell of a lot more components for upgrading, and we allow people to upgrade those things. And I like the way Elithor does it, or Lost Ark, where you're spending these resources trying to upgrade. It could fail more often, and then there's a pity amount, so you can only fail so many times before you're guaranteed the upgrade. What I would prefer to see is that the chance to fail is less. So think about this for a second. Think about how this feels as a player. And I'm just going to take a crack at this. What if the upgrade system, you really minimize the concept of failure? That every time you go to upgrade the item, if you can afford the upgrade, the weapon will upgrade. It could upgrade 1 point in damage, or it could upgrade 10 points in damage. You are much more likely to get a 1 or a 2 per your upgrade than you are to snag the 7, 8, 9. Many games have it so that the only upgrade you get is that 10, but it'll cost you a lot to get the 10. So you have like 9 failures and then 1 success. Well, I'm going to say, what if it was 10 successes, but the amount you get is smaller, right? This is, I feel, in the theme of incremental games where there pretty much is no failure or loss. There's just a difference in the return. I don't feel like I'm necessarily being too soft. I am trying to channel a different sort of player experience, though. I'm wanting to get a different sort of player experience. I don't want you to feel like your gathering resources have gone to waste. I've seen the Lost Ark streams, and I'm just like, it's devastating. Or I've played Elithor, and it's devastating. When you finally get it, it can feel good. I also want to challenge the idea that by the time that you succeed, you're just relieved that it's not a failure. You know what I mean? Like, because you're seeing that failure screen 9 times out of 10, 18 times out of 20, right? It's like, it's so much. Like, think, for example, in the IQ game with the labyrinth, right? In IQ, on the labyrinth, you're spending like 30 actions to get through like one room. That's 30 times the game is telling you you have failed to progress and you will not get a reward. I would prefer to do it that every time you take one of those challenges, like it's going to take 10 points earned to get through this room in the labyrinth. You could spend 10 actions each time getting you closer and closer to the end. Or you could strike rich on that one action and get 10 points worth and proceed to the second room. I'm going to put my money on designing an experience like that. So anyway, to return to what we're looking at right here, I would like you to be able to specify, maybe drag or click an item in your inventory on what you want to upgrade. Could be any of the items in your inventory, and then you're being given an option on what are the item you can upgrade. I think like Lost Ark, you just upgrade like the base item, and then you have some other stuff like gems or stuff you could socket into it. We could go that route, or we could provide a couple of different upgrades on the item. I think probably just taking the item and moving it up a level is the easiest. Anyway, that's what's going to be here. So what I'm trying to say is this item upgrade screen would be very different. The initial screen is more like a what from your inventory would you like to select? And then we'd have the whole modal dedicated to just upgrading that one item, just like Elithor does it. So anyway, with that, it is now time for me to go prepare dinner and watch some World Cup soccer. So I'm going to call it good here. We did get successfully 3 different modals for 3 different NPCs. We implemented all 3 NPCs, demoed moving around with the pathfinding. So we're making some good progress here. Yeah, we just need some maps and a good way to kind of exclude certain tiles from getting clicked. So we are making progress. Thanks everyone for watching the stream. The video will be uploaded to YouTube, and I'm really hoping here, I'm really hoping to get a version 1 of this out by end of year, whatever this ends up being. Again, yeah, I'm excited. So I'll talk to you all later. Have a good night.